My friends, in a world obsessed with coupling, the choice to stay single is not a withdrawal from life, but an initiation into your deepest self. To walk alone consciously is not loneliness. It is a sacred act of individuation. When you embrace solitude, you don't reject love, you cultivate the inner capacity to meet it fully, without illusion or neediness. Solitude is not emptiness, it is the fertile ground from which the true self emerges. When you choose to stay single, you gift yourself the space to listen to the whispers of your unconscious, to hear the dreams and symbols that rise from beneath the surface of everyday awareness. Without the noise of another's needs, expectations, and projections, you begin to hear your own authentic voice. This is the environment where individuation, the process of becoming whole, can take root. Solitude becomes an inner sanctuary, where you are no longer pulled outward to conform, to perform, or to please. Instead, you are invited inward, into the depths of your own psyche, where archetypes stir and hidden potentials wait to be awakened. Here you cultivate patience, self-respect, and the courage to encounter yourself exactly as you are. What may feel at first like loneliness transforms into a sacred intimacy with your own soul. Over time, you recognize that solitude is not a punishment but a privilege, not an exile but an initiation into a richer, more authentic life. In this sacred ground, you build an inner foundation so strong that no external circumstance can shake your sense of self. When you choose to remain single, you step into a rare and powerful opportunity to face your shadow directly. The shadow, in Jungian terms, is not evil, it is the totality of everything you have rejected, denied, or hidden from yourself. In many relationships, this shadow is projected outward onto the partner. You see in them what you cannot yet accept in yourself. This can blur your vision and keep you from true self-knowledge. But in solitude, the mirror becomes clear. Without the distraction of constantly negotiating another's moods, needs, or expectations, you have the psychic space to observe your own patterns, triggers, and unhealed wounds. It is uncomfortable work. You will encounter fears, desires, and insecurities you might have avoided for years. Yet in facing these inner realities without escape, you reclaim your lost power. You learn that anger can become assertiveness, shame can become compassion, and fear can become wisdom. Each aspect of the shadow, once integrated, becomes an ally rather than an enemy. Staying single gives you the time and focus to conduct this deep inner alchemy without interruption. So when you eventually engage with others, you do so from a place of wholeness rather than projection. This self-confrontation is not punishment but liberation. For only by knowing your shadow can you fully inhabit your light. Choosing to remain single gives you the freedom and psychic space to cultivate the most essential union of all, the inner marriage. In Jungian psychology, this refers to the integration of the anima and animus, the feminine and masculine aspects of your own psyche. Most people seek this balance externally, hoping a partner will complete what they feel is missing inside. Yet the true path of individuation requires you to bring these polarities into harmony within yourself first. In solitude, you have the opportunity to observe how these energies express themselves in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You can nurture your capacity for receptivity, intuition, and empathy, while also strengthening your ability to act, assert, and create. Over time, this inner marriage produces a deep sense of self-containment and serenity. You are no longer split between longing and fear, no longer dependent on another to validate your worth or fulfill your unmet needs. Instead, you experience a quiet joy that comes from being at home within yourself. This inner wholeness radiates outward, transforming the way you relate to others. Not as someone seeking completion, but as a complete being offering authentic connection. In this way, staying single becomes not a withdrawal from love but a preparation for the highest form of love, union without dependency, intimacy without the loss of individuality. Through the inner marriage, you learn to hold your own hand, speak your own truth, and meet the world as an integrated soul, balanced and sovereign. When you choose to stay single, you step outside the inherited scripts that your family and collective archetypes try to impose on you. These archetypal scripts, the dutiful spouse, the rescuer, the nurturer, the provider, the endlessly available partner, can become invisible cages, shaping how you behave without you ever questioning whether those roles actually align with your essence. Solitude gives you the radical freedom to examine each of these roles and decide which, if any, you wish to embody. You begin to see how much of your identity was unconsciously formed by societal pressures and ancestral expectations rather than authentic desire. In this space of freedom, you are no longer compelled to perform approval or to fit into someone else's myth about who you should be. Instead, you have time to experiment, to explore, to discover your own archetype and your own mythic story. Perhaps you are a sage, a creator, rebel, or a healer. Archetypes rarely given center stage in conventional relationship scripts. Staying single allows you to decondition these ingrained patterns and rewrite your narrative from the inside out. This is not a rejection of love but a reclamation of your autonomy, your psychic energy, and your right to live as a fully individuated being. By freeing yourself from archetypal scripts, you cultivate the power to enter any future relationship on your own terms, with clarity, authenticity, and an unshackable sense of self. In this freedom, you discover that your life no longer belongs to the collective myth but to your own evolving soul. Staying single often confronts you with moments of loneliness, but within that loneliness lies an immense reservoir of creative power waiting to be awakened. In Jungian psychology, what feels like emptiness is often the unconscious calling you to turn inward, to listen to what has been neglected, and to birth something new. When there is no partner to distract you or fill your time, you are left with vast psychic space, a raw and fertile field where ideas, visions, and dreams can germinate. This is the alchemical stage where lead can become gold. Loneliness, rather than a void, becomes a crucible where you distill your most authentic desires, your deepest thoughts, and your hidden talents. You begin to see that creativity is not limited to art. It includes creating a new self, building new rituals, shaping your environment, or even reinventing how you live each day. The tension you once felt as isolation slowly transforms into focus, imagination, and originality. It is in solitude that writers, thinkers, inventors, and mystics have historically found their voices, and the same is available to you. As you pour your inner energy into creative acts, you also transmute emotional pain into meaning and purpose. Over time, this practice reshapes your relationship with loneliness itself. You stop fearing it and start seeing it as an ally, a catalyst for self-expression and self-realization. In this way, staying single becomes not a barren stretch of absence but a vibrant workshop of the soul, where your most authentic and transformative creations can take form. Remaining single grants you a rare kind of sovereignty over your psychic energy, the life force that fuels your thoughts, emotions, creativity, and spiritual growth. In relationships, this energy is naturally exchanged and sometimes diffused through constant negotiation of needs, compromises, and emotional maintenance. While this exchange can be meaningful, it can also leave you depleted or distracted from your own deeper work. Solitude gives you the freedom to conserve, direct, and amplify your energy inward, towards self-mastery and self-discovery. You begin to notice where your energy leaks, old habits, inherited beliefs, unconscious patterns, and you reclaim that power piece by piece. This reclaimed energy can then be invested into your passions, your healing, your creative projects, or your spiritual practices. It is as though you become the steward of your own inner kingdom, setting boundaries, making conscious choices, and cultivating a life that reflects your authentic priorities rather than another's expectations. Over time, this sovereignty produces an inner radiance and magnetism. You are no longer seeking validation or running on borrowed energy, but emanating strength and clarity from within. This is the energetic foundation upon which true freedom rests, and paradoxically, the more sovereign you become, the more capable you are of sharing your energy consciously and generously in the future, if you choose, because it is no longer driven by dependency or depletion, but by abundance and self-possession. Staying single in this way transforms your psychic energy from a scattered stream into a focused current of power, purpose, and presence. Choosing to stay single inevitably places you face to face with the vastness of your own freedom. Without the familiar structures of a partnership to lean on, you are confronted by the reality that your life is entirely yours to shape. This can feel both exhilarating and terrifying. In Jungian terms, this confrontation is an archetypal initiation. The moment when the hero steps beyond the village gates into the unknown forest. Many people avoid this confrontation by clinging to relationships, even unhealthy ones, because partnership offers a sense of predictability and shared responsibility. Yet in solitude, there is no one to hide behind, no one to project your choices onto. You stand fully in your autonomy, responsible for your own meaning-making. This is existential freedom, the awareness that you are free to create your own values, define your own purpose, and choose your own path. Such freedom is not easy. It demands courage, self-discipline, and a willingness to tolerate uncertainty. But on the other side of that discomfort lies a profound empowerment. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you or validate you, and you begin to trust your own instincts and inner compass. You learn how to make decisions not out of fear or conformity but from alignment with your deepest self. Over time, this builds an unshakable sense of self-respect, because you know your life is not happening by accident but by conscious design. Staying single becomes the crucible in which you forge your own authority and authenticity. Rather than being adrift, you realize you are the captain of your own ship, charting a course that no one else could map for you. This courage to face existential freedom transforms isolation into adventure and uncertainty into possibility. Staying single grants you the precious time and unbroken attention needed to discover your true archetype. The fundamental pattern of energy and meaning that lives at the core of your being. Most people never get this chance. They are swept from one relationship to another, unconsciously adopting the roles society or partners expect of them, mistaking these costumes for their authentic identity. In Jungian thought, archetypes are not superficial traits but deep psychic structures: the healer, the warrior, the sage, the creator, the lover, the rebel, and countless others. These are the mythic currents that shape your motives, your dreams, and your destiny. When you are single, the noise of other people's archetypal projections quiets down. You can experiment with different paths, values, and lifestyles without having to negotiate or compromise. You can try on ideas, pursue passions, and cultivate skills that reveal which archetype truly resonates with your soul. This exploration cannot be rushed. It unfolds slowly, like a myth told over many nights. In solitude, you can reflect deeply on your past choices, your inner longings, and the symbols that recur in your dreams and daydreams. Patterns emerge, and from those patterns a clearer self-image forms. Not as an ego identity but as an archetypal calling. By discovering your true archetype, you gain a compass that makes every other decision easier. You understand why certain relationships have failed, why particular careers appeal to you, and why some environments nourish you while others drain you. You also develop a new respect for your individuality. You stop apologizing for your nature and start embracing it as your gift to the world. Staying single thus becomes an incubator for archetypal self-awareness. This is not a withdrawal from life, but a deliberate preparation to live your life in alignment with your deepest mythic purpose, so that any future partnership you enter will be chosen from a place of clarity and self-knowledge rather than confusion or conformity. Remaining single gives you the rare chance to prepare yourself as a vessel for authentic connection. A connection built on freedom, depth, and mutual respect rather than unconscious need. In Jungian terms, a relationship is not simply two egos meeting, it is two entire psyches coming into dialogue, with all their archetypes, shadows, and dreams. If you rush into relationships without doing your inner work, you risk repeating patterns, projecting your wounds, and confusing attachment for love. A solitude offers a sacred pause in which you can clean the inner vessel of old residue. Fears, resentments, codependencies, and unmet childhood needs, and begin to replace them with self-respect, boundaries, and clarity. During this time alone, you discover what you truly want and need. Not as a fantasy, but as an expression of your authentic self. You learn how to self-soothe, how to nurture your own emotional life, and how to stand firmly in your values without collapsing for approval. This process strengthens the psychic container of your individuality so that when you do meet another, you are able to offer presence without self-abandonment, empathy without overextension, and intimacy without losing your center. Your heart becomes less desperate and more discerning. Your love becomes less of a grasping and more of a gift. In practical terms, staying single can help you refine your communication skills, your sense of purpose, and your emotional intelligence. All qualities that elevate the quality of future relationships. You stop seeing partnership as a rescue mission and start seeing it as a conscious choice between two whole beings. In this way, your solitude is not a rejection of intimacy but a rehearsal for a more profound one, where both people bring their full selves to the encounter. You are preparing not just to be loved, but to love from a place of sovereignty and authenticity. This preparation transforms relationships from a refuge into a realm of expansion, where true growth and mutual awakening can take place. Individuation. The process of becoming your whole, authentic self is in truth the ultimate love story, and staying single gives you the ideal conditions to live it fully. In Jungian psychology, individuation is not a luxury. It is the natural unfolding of your soul's potential, a lifelong dialogue between the conscious and unconscious aspects of who you are. Most people chase external love stories, believing their fulfillment lies in finding the one, yet overlook the profound romance available within, the union of your fragmented parts into an integrated self. When you remain single, you create space to deepen this inner romance. Instead of pouring your psychic energy into managing another's expectations, you pour it into exploring your dreams, confronting your shadows, cultivating your gifts, and integrating the masculine and feminine forces within you. This is not self-absorption, it is self-realization. Over time, you discover a loyalty to your own soul that no external bond can replace. You begin to experience a tenderness toward yourself and unconditional acceptance that radiates outward. This self-love is not about ego but about honoring your essence, acknowledging your wounds, your strengths, and your capacity for transformation. As you travel this path, individuation changes your definition of love itself. Love ceases to be a quest for completion and becomes a celebration of two complete beings meeting in freedom and mutual recognition. Staying single teaches you to stand on your own ground, to know your own depths, and to respect your own boundaries. Only then can you meet another without losing yourself. In this sense, individuation is not a prelude to love but the highest expression of it, because you are learning to embody the very qualities, authenticity, empathy, courage, and wholeness, that make real intimacy possible. Ultimately, individuation is the soul's vow to itself. It is the slow and beautiful work of turning inward, integrating every dissound part, and emerging as a self that can truly give and receive love without illusion. This is the ultimate love story, not one written in a rush or dictated by society, but one authored by your own hand, in your own time, with your own heart fully awake. To stay single in a world terrified of solitude is an act of rebellion and authenticity. It is not a retreat from love but a pilgrimage into the soul's own depths. Remember, only the individual who has walked alone truly knows how to walk together in freedom.